Could you imagine that? Like, we're in the first four, and they announce, like, God forbid, insert team, and insert team can't play, and now Duke and Kentucky will now move into the first four.
The first four, yeah. You want to, dude? Entertainment value.
Yeah, like
done.
We'll watch that. You talking about Tuesday night basketball?
On today's episode of Titus and Tate, we are burning the midnight oil. Just got done watching a bunch of Pac-12 basketball.
I am fatigued from Pac-12 after dark.
Do we do it for ourselves? No. We do it for you, for the listeners. We do it for the Pac-12. We do it for America. We are the nation's only national college basketball podcast that has a segment devoted to exclusively West Coast basketball.
Bang.
And because of that, we have a responsibility. So what we did today is we stayed at the studio. We watched every second all these Pac-12 games tonight. There were 5 of them.
We're not kidding either. I know this sounds like a joke.
Yeah, we just watched Oregon take care of business against Colorado. UCLA beat Arizona on their home court. Arizona looked like they were going to. The second half fell apart a little bit for Arizona. Are they going to miss the tournament? The answer, yes.
Yes.
Yes, they are.
Definitively yes.
But that's not all we're talking about. Iowa beats Wisconsin, hands it to Wisconsin. The wheels are falling off for Wisconsin. The wheels are falling.
Sorry, Brad.
Has Luka Garza solidified National Player of the Year? That's what people are asking.
That is the question.
Yes.
They have wanted this for quite some time. They want the answer. We're going to talk about it today. We're going to let you know if we definitively decide if he's the guy.
He's going to hold the trophy above his head. People will be like, is it his to lose? I don't know.
Yeah. Where's Obi Toppin?
Also, huge win for Isaac Brown and Wichita State. A program win. I'm going to call it. Put the stamp on it.
Yep.
Program win.
Yep.
Beat Houston. Wichita State is sneaking their way. As we said, who was the team? St. John's. When they beat Villanova, and people, they didn't want to put them on the bubble. They said they're entering the conversation.
Yes.
That's where Wichita State is. Entering the conversation to be on the bubble to potentially have a chance of one day maybe making the tournament.
It does hurt that they had to see ECU beat the same team. I wish that this was the first big loss for Houston, so they get a little bit more momentum. But again, Wichita State, good fortune, good favors. That's good to see.
Finally, Sunday, game of the year in college basketball, Ohio State versus Michigan. So we have John Beilein joining us to give us some Michigan. We have a Michigan man on the program. I promised Duncan he'd be the only one I'd ever have on. Duncan, I lied. Sorry.
Yeah.
Maybe we should talk about some of these games, Pac-12 games we saw tonight. So the best game was probably Oregon-Colorado. Not a lot of shots being made in this game, as it turns out.
But like what you said,
game.
it's 2 tournament teams, and it's 2 teams that we expect to see in March, and it's 2 teams that, if you want to get familiar with West Coast basketball and tournament basketball and teams that could actually contend, this was a nice entry point into the season. And Oregon was a team that a lot of people picked to be the premier team in the Pac-12 for this season. They haven't been that. It's been USC, but they're still there. They're still a solid enough team.
But they could be on the right night. And that's the joy of Pac-12 basketball.
Yeah, that's West Coast basketball.
That's West Coast basketball. Oregon takes care of business at home against Colorado. Chris Duarte, 18-7. Oregon, they got USC on Monday. So I can't remember if I put Oregon on my fraud power rankings last week or I definitely had them. I think the week,
it was 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago, I think I had the fraud power rankings typed out, but I don't think we did it on the show. I think we didn't have enough time. And Oregon was definitely on the list because I had questions about if you looked at like what Oregon was doing outside of home. And I know that like that doesn't matter as much this year because home court and road, like what does that even mean? Like I don't know. It's all very confusing. They all feel like neutral games kind of, but at the same time, you could make a case either way. We'll just put it that way. Like I was like trying to suss this out, figure this out. They sweep the Arizona schools, and then they come and they beat Colorado, who I think Colorado was firmly in the tournament, right? They just lost to California though. They lost to Cal, who is not good.
No,
Cal is very, very bad. And Colorado just lost to Cal. Then they turn around and lose.
For the friends of the program at home, the coach at Cal right now is not White King Jones. It's Mark Fox.
What?
Yeah, exactly. That's how far Cal is right now.
The coach is not Jason Kidd. I think that's what they need to say. Like every time you're talking about Cal's coach, until it's Jason Kidd, just say it's not Jason Kidd.
I said this to you maybe about a week ago. During the off season, I know we're getting ahead of ourselves, but during the off season, I wanted to do a thing called Dream Scenarios, where we go through each program and we say, what's the dream scenario for a coach here? And if it's Cal, it's got to be Jason Kidd.
And it's either Brad Stevens or Billy Donovan for literally every single one.
Yeah, something like that.
No, Jason Kidd. I mean, that's the trend we're seeing. Juwan Howard, Patrick Ewing.
Go home.
Penny.
Yeah.
Go home.
Yeah.
Go home, Brad.
Chris Mullen did it.
Brad,
he was like, I got to get out of here.
Brad
ASAP.
Stevens, remember when you played for the Hoosiers? Remember when you played for Bob Knight, and everyone remembers. Go back home, Brad. Pac-12. Back to what we're talking about. Pac-12. So Oregon, I had some doubts. I wasn't a hater. I wasn't dipping my toes in the hater waters. I was just in the wait and see waters. I was in the wait and see. I was, how you're supposed to like shower before you get in the pool. That's what they say on the signs. I was in the shower. I was showering, getting ready to go into the hater waters. Right? Does that make sense? Are you tracking the analogy?
Yeah, that checks out. I think it might.
They put the sign up. There are 2 rules at public pools. 1, shower before you get in. 2, if you've had diarrhea in the last 6 months,
you cannot swim.
You can't swim. And it's like, what? We've all had diarrhea in the last 6 months.
It's like, who fact checked this? Who made this sign?
Are you crazy? So I'm showering, getting ready to jump in the hater waters. Yep. Long story short, Oregon, I'm excited to officially announce I am not going to dip my toes in that pool. I'm not a hater. I'm not a believer. But like Oregon, you're good. You're a good team. I think Oregon can win some games in the NCAA tournament. I guess I am a believer. I'm a believer.
Okay.
Screw it.
I like that. And I like that Dana Altman, he came on our show. He was very, straight with us, kind of told us that he was excited about this team, but had a little bit of, reservations with what they may be. But I think that they're, filling out as the season is going on. And then if you look at the Pac-12, we had 6 teams that were supposed to get in the tournament last year. That was the best that they had in about 5 or 6 years.
Of course, the tournament doesn't happen.
But it was the best win percentage that they had in the conference, in 6 years, I believe, as well. So that was a big moment. They don't have the tournament. We all know what happens in 2020. This year they have 5 teams now. That's who
are the 5? So USC is 100%,
yes.
And USC could eventually get up to like a 3 seed probably.
We'll keep it in LA. Then UCLA.
UCLA is going to definitely be in.
Oregon, who just mentioned, is going to be on there.
Oregon is like they're going to be in, but they are like not as secure as
the
what I thought.
first 2 are in, and it might just be the first one is 100% in. But
USC is 100%.
Yes.
UCLA is like
85.
I'd say 86, but okay.
Somewhere around there. Then Oregon, then Colorado.
Yeah.
And then the 5th one is Stanford.
Stanford is...
And that's the one that
teetering.
A lot of people... And you mentioned neutral games, because I think the big thing that Stanford is sort of hanging their hat on is we weren't able to play home games. So we had to go to Asheville, North Carolina. We had to hole up in Santa Cruz and play at the Warriors facility. So we play a lot of neutral games. And that's actually helping them with their resume, because when they look at the net ranking and they put all the the pieces together, they're saying Stanford hasn't played many home games. Let's give them the boost. So those are your 5 teams. If you're a Pac-12 West Coast basketball fan, if you need 5 teams to lock in on, those are your 5. So that's sort of the lay of the land right now.
Stanford smoked Washington tonight.
Yep. Washington, my
Green
goodness.
did not score 30. What were those uniforms, by the way?
Washington, we talked about it. They were...
There's something going on.
Yeah, there's something happening.
I've made this point before. I think I was talking about Arizona State. Because a lot gets made about East Coast bias, and West Coast schools complain about it. Mick complained on our show when we had him on before the season, and he was like, yeah, West Coast bias is real. The East Coast, you guys are haters.
Basically said if his team was Cincinnati, they would have been in the top 25.
Right.
Yeah.
But the positive thing about West Coast or East Coast bias and no one paying attention to the West Coast is Washington season right now. Because if this was happening at pick an ACC school, Virginia Tech even like a Virginia Tech. If Virginia Tech was 4-17, are they? I think now. I mean, we would, you and I would be spending so much time talking about it.
Like, what do we do? Is this program dead?
Let's figure it out. And like Washington, it's like, I don't know. Hopefully you guys figure it out next year.
Yeah. Meanwhile, if we ask Jim Boeheim right now, what's going on in Washington? He's like, what's going on?
Yeah, what's going on?
How they doing?
Yeah. I mean, like, well, speaking of Boeheim, like when you talk about, like, if you ask me my thoughts on Syracuse, I'd be like, man, they're a disaster.
Yeah.
And Syracuse like might have a path to the tournament.
They have bubble potential.
Meanwhile, you asked me about Washington. I'm like, they're not good, right? Like,
they might get it back.
The point is, sometimes East Coast bias works in your favor, and I think Washington, if they're good next year, everyone's going to completely forget that this season happened. I mean, they're not going to be good, but you know what I'm saying? They're not going to be this bad, surely, right?
Yeah.
But there's something going on, dude. Like 4 and that's not.
And if you're Mike Hopkins, you would try to point to, like, what we usually see from college coaches, like what Bill Self is doing right now, which is like, I just do media. I talk about Joel Embiid. I talk about Andrew Wiggins. I remind you, I have guys in the NBA. Mike Hopkins needs to do that with Isaiah Stewart. He's to do that with Markelle Fultz, even though these aren't there aren't his guys
Carmelo.
necessarily. Yeah, DeJounte Murray, whoever. Like, just go.
I used to be at Syracuse. You ever heard of Carmelo Anthony?
Yeah, just throw it out there, Mike.
Jim Brown went to Syracuse, you guys. I used to coach at Syracuse.
Yeah.
And they're like, I'm not tracking. It's like,
no.
Don't ask questions.
It's the Pac-12 update. It connects.
All right, can we talk about the rivalry in the Pac-12?
Please.
Because I want to have an opening statement on this. UCLA Arizona was tonight, and I just want to say, I still believe in this rivalry. I still love this rivalry. There's something about seeing UCLA and Arizona on the same basketball court that works for me. And tonight, it's not it's losing its luster. I granted, I understand that. Like Arizona is not eligible for the tournament this year. UCLA's best player, Chris Smith, tears his ACL. He's been out most of the year. UCLA has not played well before tonight. I feel like they haven't had like an actual game they should be proud of in like a month.
Yep.
So I understand for everyone listening that's not on the West Coast, you're saying, who cares? UCLA, Arizona, what is it? 1997? I don't care. I don't care. I'm telling you, I still care, Tate. This is still to me, I measure rivalries, but I'm not saying it's as good as Duke and Kentucky or Duke and, well, it's probably not even as good as Duke and Kentucky. Yeah. Duke and North Carolina or Kentucky, Louisville. I don't care. I'm saying for me personally, this is like this is my version of if we're
for me, it's better than Kentucky, Louisville. I will say that.
Right, so there you go.
Just put
if we're
that
making
out there.
our list of if we're making our GOAT list, and you know how like people throw Kobe in and they're like, I don't care if he's my GOAT.
Yeah,
you know, like,
yeah. For me, I grew up. I
want to say that about Arizona UCLA. It is one of my many GOAT rivalries. I just still get excited about it. And Bill Walton on the call, and you think about his son played at Arizona, and he played at the whole thing. Like I buy into the.
His head also in the crowd at the Oregon games for some reason. Bill Walton's everywhere. Yeah,
that's a soft move, dude.
What?
That's a soft. Like,
don't you dare call out Big Wave Billy.
No, not Bill. That's a that's a boss
Oregon.
move from.
Yeah.
But for Oregon to put like a legend of another school, that's. I don't like it.
It is pretty
like a conference rival, like the team that you're supposed to be duking it out for the. It'd be one thing if it was like Oregon State. Like Oregon State's not, who cares? They
Bill Walton superseded like conference teams, all that sort of stuff. Like he became bigger than that. Same way Michael Jordan. He's like my logo is everywhere. It's now like it's not tied to one thing, and that's what I will say about Bill Walton. He was able to supersede the teams within the Pac-12 and say we together are the Conference of Champions.
Jaime Jaquez
is the star of UCLA. Jaime Jaquez.
Jaime Jaquez, 25 points, career high, I believe. On
his birthday.
Was it really?
Yeah, it was his birthday.
Interesting.
Shout out to Jaime. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Jaime. Johnny Juzek, by the way, had on the Washington trip, he had like 32 points against Washington and like 27 against Washington State. It feels like this is how UCLA is winning games. It's just like one guy.
Just goes off.
Yep. And you're like, all right, cool. Like remember the Stanford game? They ended up losing, but Juzang had like 22 straight points for UCLA or something.
Well, now Juzang got benched for Jaquez.
Yeah, I know.
That's the crazy thing about it.
It's so weird watching UCLA. It's weird watching a Mick Cronin team where he's got guys that are just going nuts offensively, and they whenever they struggle, it's because they can't guard, and you're like, what is happening? What?
I will say this: Mick Cronin is one of the few big time coaches at a big time program in college basketball where I do feel like practice. You go into a practice or go into a game, and the starting lineup could change completely.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like you could go from being like a prime, like Prince Ali is a perfect example. Last year, Prince Ali was a senior. He goes in the season. We're in Maui. He's the star of the team. He's the face of the team. Right. They're like running offense through Prince Ali. By February, he's out of the rotation.
He's damaged goods.
He didn't even play anymore. Yeah. And that's like I do like that about Mick Cronin.
Cronin strikes me as a coach who is they do the starting lineups. They're sitting down in the huddle, and he's got his board out and he's drawing something up. And he feels like a coach that would like just get a vibe from a player. He like look a player in the eye and be like, "I changed my ear."
Yeah, he's like, "You don't want it today.
You don't want it today.
Yeah, you're out."
The guy's like, "What? I didn't do anything." He's like, "I don't like."
It's Jaime's birthday.
Bad vibes. You're out. Jaime, you're in.
That's pretty much where we are.
Yeah. So, speak real quickly your thoughts just on the Arizona UCLA rivalry as a whole. Does it still work for you? Do you get titillated? Because I do when I pull up like the score. I pull up the app or whatever, and you're like, oh, well, what games do we have coming up? You're like, oh my God, Thursday, Arizona UCLA. I don't care if they're ranked. I don't care anything about it. I'm excited to watch. This game was like Arizona blew it in the second half. They were bad on offense and worse on defense, and that's not a good combination.
Yep.
But I just as a whole, like just seeing the teams play, I get excited. That's really all I want to say.
Sean Miller is trying to be, the basically the 11th coach in Pac-12 history to win 300 career conference games, and that was supposed to be tonight. He's won 299.
Wait, what?
Yes.
What stat is this?
This is the Pac-12 stat of the day. Sean Miller tried to become the 11th coach in league history to reach 300 career wins in the conference of champions.
Can you name the other 10?
I cannot, but I can tell you this. He will be the third Arizona coach to do it. Not even the first. Lute Olson did it, and Hecken Munson did it. So those are the two.
Hecken Munson? Dude, we got to do, oh my God.
So there's your show. I told you I had one Sean Miller
Munson?
stat. Yeah.
And Vic Bubas from Duke. I love dude. Every coach back in the day had like an awesome name, and every player had a nickname.
Yeah, exactly. Every coach is named Red or something like that. Yeah.
You get on these like these sports reference pages, and these guys got nicknames, and it's like the Buzzy Hornet or something.
Yeah.
And you're like scrolling to look at the guy's stats, and he averaged 3 points a game, and you're like, what? How did this guy get a nickname? I don't. Anyway.
Sean Miller would be the first coach to reach the 300 win plateau since Mike Montgomery did it at Stanford in 2001. Sorry, I just had that stat. But
I love the Pac-12 so much. Dude.
I didn't want to say these Pac-12 stats because they're so ridiculous. But you asked me about the rivalry. UCLA, Arizona. You and I went to the game last year at UCLA. Yep. We've gone the past, I think, 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, this is the first time we haven't gone in a while.
Yeah. It is a staple in the Pac-12. It is a litmus test in the Pac-12. It has always been the game for me as someone from Tobacco Road to watch West Coast. That's when I would tune in. It's like, because usually one of the teams would be ranked, and you kind of see, where does UCLA or Arizona rank this year?
UCLA fans definitely hate Arizona more than USC.
Yes.
Yeah.
100%.
Because we've been to games. In basketball, we've been to games, the USC, UCLA basketball games, and they get more fired up when Arizona comes to town, for sure.
The only person that was more fired up was Josh Rosen. I think that was the only person that
That was the USC game, right?
Yeah, he was the only one that really hated USC. I don't know what was going on there. That was also football.
Yeah, Sean Miller got tossed from last year's game.
Yes.
That was awesome. And he said, they showed the clip tonight, and we were at the game, as you said, so we didn't see. I didn't ever see this, but when they were showing the clip and reminiscing tonight, the ref tossed him. They said another T toss, and you could read Sean Miller's lips. He says, "Good." He's like, "Good." Yeah. Good. Joke's on you, bitch. I wanted to get tossed.
That game was so funny because Danny Peters after the game, like, he was gonna like say what's up to us or whatever. We're just like, what happened to Sean? He's like, oh, don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it. That's just Sean being Sean. More to come on Danny Peters, by the way. I gotta talk about this guy.
Ooh.
All right, so those are some games. What other games happened? I mean, Oregon State smoked Utah. Washington State blew out Cal. Who cares?
I only have one Pac-12 note that I wanted to point out. Colorado is currently the best team in Division I basketball, 82.4% from the free throw line. If they finish the season, this would be the best free throw percentage in NCAA history and break Harvard's record from 1983-84.
Of course, Harvard had the record.
Yes.
That makes a lot of sense.
The conference record is Arizona, who shot 78.6%.
They're shooting 82% from the line.
Yeah,
and that's
82.4%.
That's actually a good stat.
Thank you.
Good stat, Tate.
Yeah. 83-84 Harvard.
They're the 11th team to do it.
Since Mike Montgomery.
All right, so some other stuff I wanted to hit on, but that didn't happen tonight, but it was part of the Pac-12 update. So there was a map going around in college basketball Twitter sphere of I don't know who put it together, but it got retweeted into my timeline. Very offensive material of all the states that have won a national championship since 1999, and noticeably absent is every state west of the Mississippi River except Kansas because of Mario Chalmers.
Yep.
And I just wanted to point out that this is garbage. This is like Big Ten stat of the day material by picking 1999 as an arbitrary cutoff point, by picking national title. Like the whole thing just reeked of bias, and you could have done, how many states have won 15 national titles? And then you would have highlighted California and left the rest of them blank. So I just wanted to point that out. I didn't like it.
I will say, I think that there is it is a century-old question, right? What is the basketball state? What is the basketball championship school? In the 20th century, y'all know the answer. It was Indiana and it was UCLA, right? That was the answer. That was the answer. We know what the answer is. It was John Wood and Bob Knight, these two programs. 21st century, there's 6 championships in one state. 8 miles separated between the two schools. 6!
So that's not a state. That's 2 schools. Then that doesn't count.
6.
That doesn't count.
And then you got 2 more from the last century from NC State you could throw in.
How many movies starring Gene Hackman are called Tar Heels? How many?
That's what I was thinking about writing. I was like, I guess I have to make a basketball movie about North Carolina, something in the water, something like that. I gotta figure it out.
What other Pac-12 notes that I have? Let's see here. BYU and Gonzaga are considering opting out of the WCC tournament, but Gonzaga smoked St. Mary's tonight. Mark Few in his post-game press conference was basically like it was really fun because Mark Few was like he's in a as it pertains to the WCC, he's got the like.
He's Coach K of the WCC.
I was gonna say he's Coach K. He's got like the LeBron.
We're asking your opinion, so we know what we're supposed to do.
Yeah, exactly. He's got that sort of influence. So he was like, there's this talk of maybe Gonzaga and BYU, who are both firmly in the NCAA tournament, don't need to win the tournament, the WCC tournament to get in. And we've talked about the reason you might not want to play in the WCC tournament or conference tournament. So we've talked about that on the show. So Mark Few, the report was Gonzaga might opt out, and Mark Few addressed it, and he said, "We want to play whatever," but like his whole tone
was very like, yes.
But the rest of you schmucks better not ruin this for us. I swear to God, I'll kill you all.
Yeah.
It was like a warning shot to the rest of the WCC. I swear to God, San Francisco, if you bring COVID to the WCC tournament, you're out.
Yeah. If you ruin this for us, and the funny part about Mark Few in general is like they're 20-0. They're first in every single category that does matter in the game of basketball right now. And as we look ahead to March, it's going to be this very arduous experience. And he already compared Indianapolis when they went the last time to Siberia.
Mark, I don't like Mark Few where he's going with this stuff.
And just said that, basically we're used to going to Elmo's, one of the famous restaurants in Indianapolis. St.
Elmo's.
And,
respect St. Elmo's.
I think he said Elmo's. That's how much little respect he had for the place. He's like, that's what he's like, we like going over to Elmo's and getting steak dinners with the team, but we can't even do that anymore because we're holed up in the hotel here in Siberia. That was like the quote.
Dude,
this is not good.
Remember, was it last week? He said the teams he's scared of, and he listed like 30 teams and didn't say Ohio State. Like, what the hell, Mark Few? What the hell? He's making this personal, dude. He's ripping on my home city. And
it does seem like if you're Mark Few, you call Mark Pope and you say, Mark,
why don't we, in all honesty, what if they opt out and BYU and Gonzaga just play each other to like stay fresh? It'll build their resume. They're probably going to meet in the title game anyway.
Yeah.
What if they're just like, why don't we just do like a home and home for that week? We play at our place and then we go to your place, or like they play in Vegas or something. They can figure it out.
I think if you're Gonzaga, you have to call Mark Few and say whatever, or Mark Pope and say whatever decision we make together.
I think Gonzaga.
Like you said, we're the two of us.
We lived in a time of opting out is now a thing. Like Jalen Johnson has made it a thing. So why not?
If they opt out, if I am the new Pac-12 commissioner, or whoever, I call both those schools.
Why? Gonzaga should opt out of every WCC.
Yeah,
just every single
and
one.
join the Pac-12. Literally, if I'm the Pac-12, I'm like, let's call them right now. It looks like they are open.
Arizona's not playing to the Pac-12 tournament. Yeah. Plug in Gonzaga.
Yes,
let's go.
Yes,
done.
Yes.
Here we go. Away we go.
Oh no, Washington has brought it here.
The other note about the WCC tournament, apparently KenPom, the WCC is using a KenPom algorithm, a proprietary algorithm. To 11 herbs and spices go into this algorithm to seed the tournament because there's an imbalance of schedules and they can't figure it out on their own. So they're calling in Ken Pomeroy and he's like, I got an algorithm for you. And that's of note. So like all the headlines are like, the WCC is using KenPom sort of ish. We don't really know. Like no one really knows how it's supposed to work. It's awesome.
KenPom is like the Hardly Boys on South Park, where he's got like a raging algorithm that he wants to show everybody. He's like, I can't wait till you see this algorithm. He's like, you better watch out. This algorithm's gonna be so good. You're like, all right, just show me the stupid math.
Jesus, kid, keep your algorithm in your pants, dude. Other notes I have, UCLA, they got Amari Bailey, number 3 recruit.
This was big news, yep.
5-star, number 3 junior right now. So he's not going to come next year, correct? He's the year after.
2022.
So he's a little far away. But this is big news because this is the second time Amari Bailey, look at that, he goes between his legs in a dunk.
Looks very Cassius Stanley.
Yeah, dude, it's kind of dumb how every guy can go between his legs now. If every dunker can go between their legs, can any of them go between their legs, I mean, dumb, like, I'm saying it as a hater, because I can't, obviously.
No, but you're right. It's kind of like the Hezzy, like, when, like, Sham God and some of these younger guys. Like, even, I remember I watched Sebastian Telfair play, and I know people are like, Sebastian Telfair really got you? But, like, I watched him dribble a basketball and do all these Hezzy moves, and I'm like, man, this is, like, insane. And so now I feel like it's almost every guard I watch has a very similar package.
Guys going between the legs, whatever dunk contest it was that debuted, you felt like you saw man touchdown on Mars.
Well, that's why LeBron James, the smartest thing he ever did was never do the dunk contest, because it is too hard to impress now. We've seen too much.
Even if you impress now, Tate, you're gonna look back. You watch the Dominique Michael Jordan dunk contest, boring. After Zach LaVine and Aaron Gordon, I don't care about that. I mean, like, I care because it's like I know the guys that are doing it, but like the dunks themselves, no, boring. Get it out of my face. What was I gonna say? Oh, he committed, but he committed to UCLA with Steve Alford as a coach. So this is the second time. So does this count as 2 5-star commitments for UCLA in the class of 2022 from the same guy?
Wow.
He committed, decommitted. And then
is he Compton? Is he Compton Magic?
I don't know.
Okay.
He's Sierra Canyon, I know.
Oh.
I do know that. So he's probably Compton Magic.
Have you seen this is a quick aside, West Coast basketball though. This is still Pac-12 update. Have you seen the trailer for the Sierra Canyon team? Have you seen this?
They have a trailer?
Oh yeah, they have a whole series coming out on IMDb TV about Sierra Canyon. And like the main crux of the doc, you have to see this. I'll show it to you later. The main crux of the thing is like, you know, you're 20 minutes in, they're playing like all these songs like gang, 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 gang. It's like all of them with each other. And Bronny's right there. And he goes, "What's up? I'm Brian." He goes, "Real name LeBron, though." And then like the beat hits, and it's like him dunking.
We should review. When's it coming out?
It's so good. It's already out.
Can we just put this on the big screen and like do a show where we just watch it?
We should. It's so good.
Some Mystery Science Theater. Just
it's literally the line, "Real name LeBron, though." It's so good. Gang, 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 gang. There's just them dunking all over. It's the best.
Amari Bailey committed to UCLA with a Tipton edits, Tate. The Tipton edits.
Oh, can I look up what was?
I don't know. What's Tipton edits handle? At Tipton edits? I don't know.
Yeah.
But there was a picture.
They follow us. Shout out Tipton edits.
There was a picture of Holly Pavilion under the Hollywood sign.
I got it.
And I just wanted to shout out the creative direction of Tipton edits. That they just were like, yeah, that's in LA. That's in LA. And yeah, Hollywood. Like Westwood and Hollywood are it's a very far drive.
It just says good looks.
Good looks. I love it. So Amari Bailey, welcome to Hollywood.
Yes.
Definitely the exact same thing as Westwood. What else I got? Boise State beat Utah State, officially off the fraud power rankings. Boise State is now in first place in the Mountain West. Apologies to Andy Katz. I can't believe I ever doubted you. But there's a moment in time where Boise State deserved the fraud
I'm still
power
not that impressed with that win by Boise State, I will say.
Utah State swept Sandy. I mean, they're in first place in the Mountain West.
Okay.
That has to matter a little bit. You can't do any better than that.
They should have a blue court. I mean, I don't know if they do, but like they got to do something. I need Boise State to do that stamp, you know.
Finally, I love Justice Ewing. He's a Cal transfer. He plays for Ohio State. I just
too.
want to shout him out. 16 points against Indiana, and
I think he's my favorite player on Ohio State. Not that he's the best player, but I think he's my favorite player.
Let's talk to a guy who's going to be asked to coach a lot of teams. I have a feeling. He's doing stuff for Big Ten Network. That's why we have him on. He's a colleague of ours technically, but he's also a coach. His name is John Beilein. We talked to him about Michigan, Ohio State, all that stuff. Here you go. Michigan at Ohio State this weekend, the game of the year in college basketball. I obviously spend a lot of time talking about Ohio State on this program. I'm very proud of my alma mater. We don't get the perspective much of those degenerates up in Ann Arbor, Tate. So we figured what better man to give us an idea of what's going on in Michigan than the greatest coach in program history. John Beilein is joining us now on the program. Coach, first of all, where are you? Where is life taking you these days? Where are you living? We see the Michigan basketballs behind you. But yeah, where are you right now?
I'm in Ann Arbor. We never sold our house. When I went to Cleveland, we were going to wait a little bit to buy a house, and when we had to make that career change, we just sort of came back here, and we love Ann Arbor. So it's good. We're still my granddaughter's here, my daughter's here with my granddaughter and my two grandsons. So it's good here in Ann Arbor.
He's a Michigan man through and through. Coach, we got to start here. So Juwan Howard obviously takes over for you, has taken what you have built, put his own spin on it, and has had just as much success, certainly to this point. I mean, obviously, we got to give him time to make some March runs and Final Fours like you did. But so far, what we're seeing from Juwan Howard is, I'm sure he has your stamp of approval. And can you just give us an idea of you've done this before? You've obviously taken over as a coach at different programs. How hard is this? What is the most impressive thing about this? Because of the track record of guys taking over for legends, and you are a legend. I won't hesitate to say that. The track record of guys taking over for legends in college basketball is not great. So what has been the most impressive thing from your perspective on what Juwan Howard's done this year?
I think he's, I've got to know Juwan for many years. He was one of the many alums that reached out to me. And, I think what he's been able to blend really was, listen, it ain't broken here. We don't have to fix a whole lot, but I want to put my own identity on it too. And he's done that. I mean, watching the games, there's some things that he did that those guys were really accustomed to with us. and then he's put some great wrinkles in it and really done a wonderful job. So I love his demeanor on the sideline. I love the staff. He kept not only Sadie Washington, but strength staff and everything. He's done a great job of blending what we really believe and putting his own identity in there.
And Coach, you still have players that are on this Michigan team currently, like Isaiah Livers, that you obviously coached and went to a Final Four with, and you know some of these players. So how much of a connection do you have just being in Ann Arbor and seeing these players that you know so well, and they're still thriving under, Juwan Howard? And it seems like you're tied to the program still, which is really cool.
Well, I think it's that's a slippery slope a little bit, because when you leave a program, they don't need two coaches in their ear. Yeah. And so I make sure that I text them after some really good games, maybe when they need a pick-me-up, when they went through the pandemic pause. I hit a couple of them. But I also, this is Juwan's team now, and this is not my team anymore, and I want to make sure that they hear those voices, the really important ones. But, Isaiah Livers and Eli Brooks and Austin Davis, and then the juniors, Brandon Johns, and then, I've known Franz Wagner, since he was in ninth grader.
Yep.
And so, he's done a great job there. And some of the other kids we recruited as well that are there right now, Juwan has taken them in, or he finished the job recruiting, and it's turned out to be a great team, especially when he added the two seniors, the two transfers who are just hungry to win. They've done a great job with that.
Coach, we were talking off air before we started on the show, obviously, that the Ohio State-Michigan rivalry in basketball is very different than what it is in football. In football, the hatred is there. It doesn't matter who's won last year or how many in a row. When they're playing this year, they're at each other's throats. And we were discussing, like, when you took over Michigan, it was my sophomore year on the Ohio State team, and I don't remember ever really thinking Michigan was a rival. And I don't say that in a taunting way. We just we had a good thing going with our program. Yeah. You guys were trying to figure it out. I guess what my question is how do you perceive the Michigan-Ohio State rivalry in basketball? Because we know Michigan State is your true rival in basketball. So, like, what is your sense on where the rivalry was when you were there, where it is now, where you think it's going, that sort of thing?
I just think it's tough to have a rivalry like you have in football when you could play them 3 times in a year. Mm-hmm. And it still doesn't mean you could lose 3 times in a year and still win the national championship. So it's a different dynamic to it. But I guarantee you this is that our fans up here in Ann Arbor, when Ohio State comes in the building, there's no love lost there. And I never felt any love in Columbus, not one time. So I think our fans get it, but it's not. With football, it is really determines your success that season, and it does not determine the success. So we're playing Michigan State every year, twice from now on. That's part of the schedule. We're not doing that with Ohio State, but the game still means a lot because they're 2 great programs, without question.
And Coach, how hard is it? Because Titus and I, one of the stupid things that we do on our show, we like to label schools either a football school or a basketball school. And obviously, you know the rivalry, we know the history between Michigan and Ohio State football. But, like Titus mentioned, I mean, you got the Thad Matta era. There's a lot of Final Fours, and a lot of good basketball there. Then you guys in 2013, you're right there on the precipice. 2018, we had a great time with that run as well, Coach. So We're just going to ask the question: Is Michigan a basketball school at this point? I think so.
You are not getting me to answer that question. You know what, Michigan is the greatest university in the world, and their athletic department is second to none, and that goes with every single sport. So that's the answer I'm going to give you. Every time. But hey, let me ask you a question. Is North Carolina a football school now or a basketball school?
We're getting close, Coach. Hey, Mac Brown's getting us close. I'm fine with it. I might take it up. I'm okay with it. Sam Howell for Heisman.
Oh, man. Coach,
I got you. Mac Brown is done a great job.
Coach can run for office with answers like that. All right, we've been dancing around it, Coach. So a few years ago, this is I want to give you a little backstory. So when we started this show, we had a young man who was a basketball player. He reached out to us, said he was a senior, about to have his senior season on a basketball team, and he wanted some like help because he might eventually get into sports media, and he wanted to just kind of pick my brain. And I talked to him and gave him some advice, whatever, and said, I like that guy. I'm going to watch him this year. That kid's name was Duncan Robinson. And so Tate and I got very excited because in the 2018 season, Duncan Robinson, to our knowledge, he was the first ever player who was actively playing college basketball who listened to our show. So we got really excited about it. We were going to follow him all year. And somewhere along the line that season, I think it was around January, you decided to not start Duncan Robinson. You decided to put him on the bench and start a freshman Isaiah Livers, who was averaging about 3 points a game. This enraged Tate and I. We were not happy about it.
We thought it was about us, Coach.
Yeah,
we thought that you heard that he was listening to us.
We were so mad. We were like, who is this Isaiah Livers kid? What's going on? So Duncan graduates. He's obviously become the best shooter in the NBA. He's unbelievable. He's going to make all-star teams. It's just a matter of time. So I guess my question, Coach, is would you like to apologize to the listeners, to Tate and I? Like, what happened? What was going on there?
Well, here's the true story about it. Here's the true story is that, and we just had this on the Big Ten Network, that over the 8 games against high-level player, this is an amazing stat. Over the first 8 games that year, he was shooting less than 20% from 3.
Oh, wow.
Less than 20%. So he was pressing himself. He was really not, he was like not hunting shots. He was questioning everything that he was doing out there. And so we just said to him, he's mad at himself. I said, I'd rather have him get mad at me. And so we made that flip. He actually played just as many minutes, and he shot, listen to this, 41% the rest of the year, 41% from 3. So sometimes you just got to make and he was the 6th man of the year in the league. And we went to the final 2. So it worked out all right for everybody. So I'm sorry it made you mad, but sometimes coaches got to improve their team. And him coming off the bench became a major reason why we were so good that year.
Dang, I got nothing. I got nothing. I wasn't expecting him to have numbers like that, Tate.
Yeah, you got us, Coach. Sounds like you were right. And Coach, you happen to be in this great position right now, at least from our vantage point, where you are sort of, able to look in, from your own vantage point, check in on a lot of different programs, obviously have the relationship with Michigan still, but you can survey the college basketball landscape. And, we're not going to ask anything specific about, your plans in the future, but just in general, how nice is it to just kind of take a seat back and watch all these different teams and figure out, play styles that you like, or, figuring out, kind of what you may see for the future of college basketball in general.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed this. I've said to several people, I'm in a sabbatical. Whether I get back to coaching or not, that's a whole nother story. But I'm in a sabbatical. This has been a great time for me to just sit back. Here's what you probably need to know. Any coach in the Big Ten or any coach anywhere in the country, I guarantee you, Roy Williams is not on a Saturday at home watching a Big Ten game that he's not going to play anybody. He's getting ready for his next ACC game. We don't watch other conferences. And that's why conferences get so much alike in style. We just watch each other on video over and over again. So you don't really get to study. And now I've been able to do some of that, or just really look back. And I've done 3 Nebraska games, and I feel like I really know Fred Hoiberg right now, what he's trying to accomplish. Then I've done Minnesota, Penn State. I'm just watching these things, and it's really unique that I can do this and really learn. I know I've improved as a coach in this offseason without question.
So you say you like it now, but let's fast forward to this spring when guys start getting fired, and John Beilein's name is coming up for literally every single job in the country, and people are throwing out your name.
It is true, Coach. You are the hottest name in the country. Every program wants John Beilein.
Have you prepared for that, Coach? Like, in all honesty, how do you your phone's gonna be blowing up, whether it's athletic directors or it's like newspaper guys or like, we heard this rumor that this booster, we were tracking your flight. Are you prepared for flight trackers? People are gonna be tracking every move that John Beilein makes from April till May, like the March, April, May window. Are you ready for that? Like, you can't relax.
I'm very relaxed right now. I'm just trying to do the best I can do. The best I can do to be a guy like you, to be able to have all these Twitter followers and be a great resource for college basketball. Sort of a guy that really the smartest guy in the room, like you guys. That's what I want to be like. really be able to say all these very, very intelligent things about the game.
Coach, I got a tip for you to build your media brand. Then, in that regard, you should do what Juwan Howard did, where in August, I think he put out a statement that he said, I actually had it written down. He said, "There is a report of my name as a potential candidate for NBA coaching opportunities. While I am flattered and I know it will more than likely happen again, I am not exploring, seeking, or listening. I'm the coach of Michigan." I think you should do this for college jobs. I think you should put out statements unsolicited and just be like, "I'm flattered that some people want me to go coach at Duke.
Noise.
Yeah, I'm hearing noise that people want me to take over for Coach K. I'm not interested, you guys. I'm not interested." And then it becomes like a story about how many times you're saying,
humbled, honored.
"I'm not interested in Kentucky, you guys, please."
Oh man, I'm not going to go any further on that one. You guys have got further along with me than anybody trying to get really what's in my head out of me, because I got all kinds of things going on here. But I love doing this media.
Back to this Michigan team right now. I think one of the unheralded heroes of the rebuild. No, it's not a rebuild because you left the program obviously in good standing. But this Juwan Howard era is Phil Martelli, a guy who was the St. Joseph's head coach forever. Is now an assistant on Juwan's staff. He was smart enough to get a guy like him who's a veteran, been a head coach, won a ton of ball games.
Yep.
Again, we're definitely not asking what the future holds for John Beilein, but you have been a head coach your entire life. That was always a fun little trivia nugget about you, is that you were never an assistant. Does any part of you, maybe potentially hypothetically, look at Phil Martelli, talk to him a little bit, and say, like, maybe that's like a fun little role where I don't have the pressure of being a head coach. Maybe I try an assistant role somewhere where I'm kind of helping a guy out here and there.
Yeah, I will tell you this. That Phil Martelli, Juwan's made a lot of great moves, but Phil Martelli is one of his best, without question. And it was so ironic because when Phil left St. Joe's and Juwan, and I knew they were interviewing Juwan, and Juwan and I were talking, I was going to tell him about Phil Martelli, and he asked me first, "What do you think of Phil Martelli?" And it's really worked out well, without question. And then obviously kept Sadi Washington, who was really a champion. Somebody do the work on Sadi Washington and see every program he's involved with wins, and wins big. You know, so I don't know Coach Presley very much, but I do know that those guys, they have done a great job there. And but I do not think that the assistant coach at that level is what is in the cards for me. That's for sure.
Head coach only.
I can qualify that right now.
All right.
No, we love that. That's a scoop right there, Coach. That's all we need.
Yeah, our show got a scoop. John Beilein.
Coach Beilein will be a head coach.
Yeah. Hey, how about this? Here's an idea. You and Coach Mata, who I played for Ohio State, also is in the similar boat. Like you guys had great runs, by the way. I mean, we should point that out. We're talking Ohio State, Michigan. The two of you, it was so fun to watch you guys coach against each other. Maybe you and him and Bo Ryan, you guys just start like a coaching consulting firm where you just help guys out. Like you're coaches for hire, just like for one game, you do some scouting here and there. That would be awesome. That'd be something there.
Yep. No, I really have. I have a lot. I have several. I don't know what the number is, but it's 6 or 7 now. A couple guys have got let go, but head coaches, the former assistants or players that are head coaches, and I love just doing that with nothing to lose. You mentor guys, or they call you after a game and you talk through their game. I'm watching games on my phone. Oh, they're ahead at half. Oh no, what's happened? Or I watch them. You really get in. You really pay attention to all those things, and so anytime anybody can talk to Bo Ryan or Thad Matta, right, about basketball, open up your ears and listen to everything they say, because they've won everywhere they've been, and incredibly storied careers as well.
We've let you get away with some politician answers here on this interview. We're gonna put you on the hook this time. Before you go, give us a prediction. Sunday, Michigan, Ohio State. How do you see it, Coach?
The crowds are, without, are they letting people into the game in Ohio State?
Not really.
What's going on down there? Any fans there?
Well, Coach, if you know how it is at the Shot. Does it matter if there are fans there or not? It's going to be quiet.
Yeah. So we didn't win there very often, but they just went to Purdue and won easily, and they went to Wisconsin and won. We didn't win there. I don't put anything past Michigan right now because of the veterans they have on the team. However, Ohio State has great veteran leadership too. Chris has been in the league now for 3 or 4 years. Juwan's team is rolling. It's going to be a great basketball game. I just hope it has all the excitement, right, of those games that Thad and I had. That were incredible games for so many years there, so many years. And so it's going to be a really tight one, I think. Michigan hasn't been in a lot of tight ones. Ohio State has. That could be a factor, but I don't put anything past Michigan right now. They could win out. They could actually win out. They're so talented.
Unbiased opinion, Coach. We'd love to see it. Thank you so much.
Coach, we appreciate you making time for us. I hope your prediction is not true. I hope
it is, Coach. I'm going to be pulling for the Wolverines. I'm right there with you. Coach of the Year, Juwan Howard.
Well, thank you very much for having me on. You guys are tough. You try to get some pretty good stuff out of me. So, but you're really good, and you're good for college basketball. So I appreciate you,
Coach. We'll have to have you back when the coaching carousel is going, and we'll have to do some PR spins for you here or something.
Whatever you need,
Coach. We're here for you. All right.
Not on your life. I won't be on. So see you later.
One of the other big games we saw tonight, Tate, certainly coming in, it ended up being not that great of a game. Iowa, Wisconsin. This was one we had circled, one we decided we wanted to watch together, one that I think most of America, if you're a college basketball fan, you were locked in on this one. Iowa at Wisconsin. These are two of the big three coming into the Big Ten season. Iowa is starting to figure it out. And we talked about this. It's impossible to prove this, but I swear to God, Tate and I, when this game started, we both looked at each other. We're like, I'm not selling my Iowa stock yet.
Yes.
I still believe in Iowa.
I said to you, I am actually very happy that Iowa is not the Michigan right now in the Big Ten, where they are actually the team that is on the forefront, where everyone's like, that's the best team. I think that's the best. Or even Ohio State. I guess those two teams are right there.
They were definitely sliding in my mind. Like, because when we were doing the how the fan bases feel, I said, like, I think Iowa was like putting on a brave face, if I remember right. But it wasn't like it's over. It was like, right now, I'm not feeling great
in this moment in time. Yes.
But we could figure it out later. It was just like we're at a crossroads. Is February Fran rearing his ugly head? If so, maybe March Fran. We'll figure it out. But like, they're too good. They're so good. Luka Garza is going to win National Player of the Year. Joe Wieskamp's amazing. CJ Frederick, who every Iowa fan on earth is making this guy out to be like he's freaking Kawhi Leonard. Like, a wing defender.
I will say, like
our defense.
When he played in that, I got a little bit of confidence. I'm like, all right, CJ Frederick's back. Let's go. Every
Iowa fan, because like when I said, like, if I was an Iowa fan, I'd be a little discouraged as to what I've seen the last few weeks, and every single one of them is like, yeah, well, CJ Frederick, like, when he plays, we play lockdown defense, and I'm like, that guy is. They're not exactly wrong. Like, that's the story of Iowa right now, is the defense is kind of rounding the corner. Sean Farnham on ESPN, I believe, made the argument if Iowa can just buy in on defense, and I love that. I love the idea of just buying in. That's all it takes. Just buy in. All you got to do is buy in.
Fran McCaffrey walks into practice and goes, guys, look, we've been selling. Let's start buying.
He's passing around the offering plate. He's like, everybody buy in, and we're good, and we'll be fine. As it turns out, that's kind of true. I mean, they played not great, but like they played good defense. They played defense. We'll put it that way. And Iowa's offense is unbelievable. It should be pointed out, for everything Gonzaga's doing, Baylor's offense is out of this world. Like how good of shooters they have, everything. Iowa has consistently been the best offense in college basketball all season, and that's not going to go away anytime soon. So,
and it's the only reason that they are who they are and the team that they are. And I think, when you look at them, you see Luka Garza, who's kind of this big, he's not sexy, right? You don't see Luka Garza and say, like, that's the team, that's the guy I want to ride with. But as a North Carolina fan, when I watch them make 17 threes, you see why this Iowa team is so dangerous, because it is very much an inside-out attack. Luka Garza gets 25 and 10 in his sleep. You don't even realize as it's happening, but it is happening. And then Wieskamp, I think, has somehow become underrated. He's shooting over 50% now after this, from the three-point line.
That's too high, by the way. Wieskamp, if you're listening, you got to shoot more. Get that down.
He's averaging 5 threes a game and is shooting over 50% from three.
So you got to shoot more threes,
which is crazy. Those are crazy numbers. And Wieskamp is not just a specialist; he's a guy that can put the ball on the floor. He, to me, is, if Wieskamp has a good tournament and he's on, hitting on all cylinders, Iowa is a very, very bad matchup.
Wieskamp is an NBA player.
Yes.
He has to be,
He's
right?
got Duncan Robinson vibes. Like, and I don't want to put that on him, because I know it's a lofty thing to say, but not really, because you're shooting 50% and taking 5 threes a game.
I'm not an NBA scout. I haven't studied Wieskamp's foot speed on ball screen defense.
I don't care. He takes tough threes off the dribble.
The man's unbelievable.
Yeah.
The man makes shots. And I feel like at that level, you have to make shots.
Yeah.
And he does it. So
take that.
It's good enough for me. So 2 thoughts coming out of this. I guess that's how most games work, is you have 1 thought on one team and 1 thought on the other team. So Wisconsin, I'm done. They're done. It's like we talked about, like they're in wait till March mode. I'm not. If Wisconsin, maybe I'll be proven wrong. Maybe they'll put it together and go on the Elite Eight, and people will be, throwing this back in my face and saying, I don't care. It's worth it. It's still worth it to say I think they're done. I think it's like they look dead in the eyes. That's how I'd say it.
They are, I just said it when I was talking about Remy Martin, but it does feel like, Reavers especially. Reavers is, Micah Potter might be a better, big man for them right now as far as like moving forward with this team. And I'm not saying Micah Potter's necessarily ever going to be the answer for a team as their number 1 big man. So in general, this Wisconsin team I liked in December. In fact, if you were to ask me in December, a team that I would say is a dark horse sleeper team when we get to March, Wisconsin would have been one of them because of the fact that they have 24-year-olds and 25-year-olds. But that also seems to be hurting them. I don't know if it's the fatigue.
They all seem sick of each other or something. But like it's I don't know. But like it's very strange.
It seems like you overstayed your welcome, and it's like time we got to wrap it up. And
it really does.
And Brad could come back. There's Micah Potter could come back. We're not saying that they will, but that's the other part of this whole conversation where this team could just lose in the first round, and then these same guys come back, and we have the same. You know what I mean? It could be belabored on. And Greg Gard's been there 6 years, which is crazy to think about. Even when they said that today, it hit me. I'm like, man, I feel like Bo Ryan left like 2 years ago, but that's where we are with this team, and it does feel very much. When Kobe left last year, Kobe King, that seemed like this weird, like, what's going on in Wisconsin, and then they locked in and were great.
Yeah.
And, they were the hottest team, one of the hottest teams as we got to March, and then we didn't have a tournament. So that kind of has lingered with us. It definitely has lingered in my head when I think about Wisconsin, that version of them. But what we see now is what we saw when Kobe was still there.
Something happened.
Yeah.
Something happened between last year and they haven't really been inspiring all year.
Yes.
That's the way I would describe Wisconsin, as uninspiring. Mm-hmm. It's just like it's...
Man, and Brad had some moments in this game, like he got them back. That they were fighting for a little while, but
if we threw out everything about Wisconsin before this season, which is how it's supposed to work, you're not supposed to say like I understand preseason rankings. We look at last year and weigh that and stuff like that, but as it pertains, in a perfect world, we're just treating every season in its own little vacuum. You would never at any point this season believe in Wisconsin, really, right? Like they smoked Louisville, but like that, even I don't know.
Yeah, without Carlick Jones,
like who cares?
Yeah.
So there's that. It's a bummer because like Wisconsin, I was ready for I was ready for it to be a fun season with Wisconsin and Iowa being good, and Illinois has turned out to be every bit as good as we were hoping they would at the start of the year.
But we did know that when we looked at the Big Ten, there were,
there's going to be one team.
Yeah, exactly. There were basically 4 teams that were going to be legit, and Wisconsin was the odd man out.
There was going to be one team that fell. That's just how it has to work.
And Michigan took their spot in reality. Yeah. Michigan bumped up, and then they were gone.
Was there another team that bumped up, or you just don't want to... Are you fucking kidding me, dude? Michigan took their spot? We'll see about that on Sunday. The other thought, Iowa.
I love it so much. I just want to make it a rivery. It needs to be a basketball rivalry. I just feel like we're planting the seed. Beilein was saying.
I know. Beilein. I asked. We're getting closer. Yeah. Chris Holtman put out. Chris Holtman has made so our football team, the Ohio State. Whenever you beat Michigan, you get like these gold pants. They make like these necklaces, and then you put these little gold like charms. I don't know what you would call them.
Yeah.
Like little
like Pandora.
Yeah, but it's like a little medallion that you just hang on your thing, on your necklace. God, I don't know much about jewelry terms, obviously. But they're gold pants, and that's like been a tradition at Ohio State for
nice.
Hundreds of years. Going back to the 1700s. When you beat Michigan, you get gold pants. So Chris Holtman has decided to start giving out gold jerseys, I guess. So like the basketball pro, like they're basically trying to make it a thing. Like if you beat Michigan, you get your, I don't know. So
you get your gold jersey.
So he's trying to like, it's a little artificial, but a lot of rivalries are when you start them. Like, you gotta.
I think like Holtman in general, like Holtman versus Juwan Howard is such a good mix of styles and coaches, and like they obviously are going to have a reverence and respect for each other, and they're also great in-game coaches. Like, it is a good fit, and it's the best thing about Beilein today, and we didn't even really talk to him about it, but the fact that you had Thad and Beilein kind of have that rivalry and get it to this point, and then now you've like passed the torch to these other two guys who are going to take it to the next level. It's pretty good.
It never really works out where the legend, whoever follows the legend, almost never works out. And right now, it's very early, we should say. Like, Chris Holtmann has still, I love him to death. I will defend him to death. But we should, if I'm being fair, and that's my job.
We have to see it in March. Yep.
He hasn't made a Sweet 16 at Ohio State. Juwan Howard hasn't even made a tournament because last year there wasn't a tournament. Yep. So we still have to see that. But as of right now, where we're sitting, it's pretty insane that Ohio State and Michigan both had the best coaches they've ever had in their program's history. Both of them leave around the same time, and the guys that replace them with are so far giving vibes that they're going to be every bit as good.
To put it in my terms, they're on the rails.
Back to the Big Ten game we're talking about, Iowa, Wisconsin. I had this question for you. So what is it about Luka Garza, who's going to win National Player of the Year? He is. Just embrace it, America. Just accept it, I guess. You don't have to embrace it, but accept it. It's going to happen, whether you want it to happen or not. Luka Garza will be your National Player of the Year this year. Why is there such an inclination to fight against that? Why? I mean, we fell victim to it last year that Obi Toppin dunked between his legs, and I was like, okay, that guy. Not Luka Garza, this guy. And then even tonight, I as I'm watching Wisconsin, Iowa, I was just trying to stir the pot a little bit, and I tweeted a poll, and I said, who's better, Frank Kaminsky or Luka? Who's going to be better remembered, Frank Kaminsky or Luka Garza? And part of the Wisconsin vitriol, the fans that got fired up about it were because they were watching Luka Garza beat their team's brains in. As I tweeted that out, but there just seemed to be like this the backlash of Luka Garza is like, this is insulting, and I'm like, it's probably Frank Kaminsky, but it's not really insulting. It's like Luka Garza is unbelievable. Look at the stats he's putting. It's insane. I wouldn't say we've never seen numbers like he puts up, but like it's wild. The how good he is, how much attention he demands. Every single scouting report, every team that plays Iowa, they must spend 80% of their scouting on Luka Garza, and he still is putting up these numbers. And yet there's like this backlash of him being boring, of him. Yep. What do you think's going on here, Tate?
I think it's fatigue, and I think it's, like you said, last year we all watched, Luka Garza dominate over here, but we watched, another guy dominate with flash, and that was Obi Toppin. So we all had a guilt, or whatever you want to call it, that lingered as we got into the offseason. You and I, and when we did our previews, I think I pretty much said, barring something crazy, Luka Garza will win National Player of the Year. We said we owe
you one, Iowa fans.
Exactly.
Sorry about that.
Straight up. Like, I think that's been the sentiment of the AP, of ESPN, of Bleacher Report, of Titus and Tate, whatever outlet you want to put, and pick out and say, like, what is your National Player of the Year? It's all Garza. It is now, he's run away with it. Dick Vitale tonight told us that he's already run away with it. It's not even close.
Yeah.
But if you look at, like, Drew Timme is shooting the same percent from the 3-point line.
Yeah.
Drew Timme, there could be an argument that could be made that Drew Timme could be National Player of the Year. You know what I mean? And I could hear it. But I'm just saying this as like an example, right, in the world of college basketball. Yeah. You could pick these great players. Ayo Dosunmu, you could pick him and say,
Dosunmu's the one now.
Here's the one that we ride. Jared Butler, here's the one that we ride. But at the end of the day, Luka Garza has been so consistently great and so consistently, phenomenal beyond what we even expected. The fact, if you told me he's going to have 7 30-point games, I wouldn't have thought that. And if you told me that, I would have said it's a guarantee that he got National Player of the Year with that. But we're fatigued by it. We're not accepting it as this amazing thing because it doesn't happen and blow your mind. In fact, half the time I look at the stat, it's very Tyler Hansbrough. I look at the stat sheet and I'm like, he had 28 and 17.
Yeah.
It's like, I thought he had like 16 and 10, But he just, the numbers are there, the stats are there. He is involved in everything while he's on the floor. But it just it washes over you, and you don't embrace it.
He's not boring, but he's boring. He's not boy. Like, you watch, like, the idea of a big man he moves like he's got and play. He's got power. He's got finesse. Maybe not. He's not the most fleet of foot guy we've ever seen, but he can. It's not like he's just.
He shoots threes,
and then he steps out and shoots threes.
Like, he shoots 43% from three. It's not like this guy only goes down on the block and backs you up. He takes little turnarounds. He takes elbow jumpers. Like, he has variety to the way he scores the basketball and plays the game. Yet the common perception and understanding is that he is just going to like get the ball into him.
Yeah, it's very strange. And then like Ayo DeSumo he's unbelievable. You can't say enough good things about it.
He's not Brian Zubek. He gets talked about like he's Brian Zubek. He gets talked about as Brian Zubek.
Ayo DeSumo has been unbelievable. He's especially down the stretch. He's like almost single-handedly winning games for Illinois. But you know, like it's just because Ayo DeSumo hits like a couple shots against Northwestern late. There's that element of it too. It's just like when Ayo DeSumo has like the Heisman moments, so to speak, and Luka Garza doesn't really ever have Heisman. There's never, you know, it's just kind of a steady, slow. Just keep chipping away, keep chipping away at all times, and never stop that process. And Ayo is like sometimes feeling a game out, and then all of a sudden he'll go on a nasty run and put a team on his back, then he'll hit a clutch shot, and then everyone watching is like, clip that up, put it on Twitter. I saw and that's not to say Ayo DeSumo is not great, and if honestly, in any other year, maybe Ayo DeSumo should win National Player of the Year, but like it's just weird that I think you're right. I think it's fatigue, because I think Luka Garza, that he hasn't hit, he doesn't have, his highlight reel isn't impressive probably,
but he needs
it
like,
all looks the same, but
he needs something. He needs like, whether it even be like an offensive rebound or something, like he just needs some sort of like big moment in a game against an Illinois or against someone where people can see and say, oh, that's why. Now I see it. Now I get it. Now I understand it, because it does feel like even the games that are supposed to be his big games, like they played North Carolina, they're so much better than North Carolina this year.
Yeah.
So it's like you don't even have these moments where he can have, you know, those quote unquote Heisman moments or Naismith moments or whatever you want to call them. And that's what he needs, and I hope that they come in March. I hope that they come maybe in the Big Ten tournament at some sorts. But if it doesn't come, he never lost the award, and he definitely won the award. And I think that's the other part. A lot of people are acting like he deserves it because he didn't lose. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like, no, he won it. Like, he won it.
Open your eyes. Watch him play basketball.
He won it. And Ayo won Big Ten Player of the Year. I
would love that. Yeah, that's what I'm rooting for. I'm rooting for Ayo winning Big Ten Player of the Year and Luka Garza winning National Player of the Year.
And everyone's happy.
Jay Will, Juan Dixon in 2002.
Great year.
Nick Collison, someone pointed this out to me. Nick Collison won Big 12. It was a Big 12 then. It wasn't Big 8. That's not that far back. Big 12 Player of the Year in 2003, and TJ Ford won some National Player of the Year. Yeah. With David West. Split him. Yeah, I don't know. That was an interesting, just an observation I have. Is like Luka Garza. It's the most, I guess pun intended, lukewarm Player of the Year we've had in a very long time.
Yes.
Like Hansborough. The difference, Hansborough was on like teams that were national title like everyone believed in it. Like even if you didn't think Hansborough was all that great and he's shooting from his hip and all that.
Tyler Hansborough was Tim Tebow.
He was Tim Tebow.
Yeah, it was just like, we can't stop this.
So
I hate him. I don't like him. But man, I can't stop it.
And the team, like no one was doubting how good North Carolina was.
I mean, you had Danny Green, Ty Lawson,
even if you're like Hansborough's not that good, you're like, but still he's obviously the best player on this team that's unbelievable. So all right, whatever.
Yep.
I mean, the one that I go back to, if we're doing like, is Luka the most boring since? It'd probably be like Andrew Bogut in 05, right? Mm-hmm. That would probably be the answer. No disrespect to Andrew Bogut, but it's sort of the similar thing where you're just like putting up insane stats. People are kind of bored with it, but like, damn, it's undeniable. So here you go.
Yeah,
but Andrew Bogut was the number one pick, and Garza's gonna go.
I was gonna say, no one really even knew what to do
53rd.
that year. Yeah, they were just like, I guess he is the guy.
Anyway, all right, let's wrap this up. Shout outs, close outs. What do you got?
Man, I just wanted to, as you just said that, I just wanted to shout out to the bigs. Just in general, I feel like that's the other part of this Luka Garza thing. Andrew Bogut in 2005, you know, that was the understood, you know, we're 20 years from Patrick Ewing going number one in 1985, the first year of the lottery. If you're a big man and you're 7 feet tall, you go number one. That's an understood thing. Now we have Luka Garza, who's, 15, 16
Would you
years.
draft him?
That's what I mean. Like, so I, shout out to Luka Garza for one, just, putting up with the fact that like that is where we are, where things have just gone so drastically, I think, ridiculously the wrong way. And two, just shout out to the bigs in general, because they have to put up with a lot of BS in the world of basketball, and he's doing it. He's handling it.
I want to shout out Isaac Brown. I said it at the top of the show. We didn't have enough time, I guess, to get to Wichita State, Houston, really talk about that much. But interim coach at Wichita State was an assistant on Greg Marshall's staff, I believe. Greg Marshall, obviously, we know how that ended up. He's now taken over interim coach. Didn't know a ton about this guy, if I'm being completely honest, Tate. And then I was looking into it more tonight as we were prepping for the show after they won and everything. He's been an assistant his entire life. 51 years old. He at one point he was an assistant at community college. He was an assistant at his own high school that he went to. Anyway, it's a story that I feel like as we start peeling back the layers, it's going to get more. He's going to be easier and easier to cheer for because he's 51 years old, never been a head coach before, and now it's looking like that's the chatter coming out of this game is that he just got himself the interim tag removed. That's what people are saying. Whether it happens or not, I think it should happen because it wasn't just one game. Wichita State is now being in the conversation of maybe getting at-large in the NCAA tournament. But yeah, it wasn't just they lost Greg Marshall. They were picked to finish 7th in the American this year.
They were basically written off. Yeah,
that was with Greg Marshall, Tate. They were picked 7th with an understanding that Greg Marshall would coach the team. He is not coaching the team. They had like 7 guys transfer in the offseason.
Yeah, at least.
The program's been absolutely gutted, and they are now in first place in the American. They didn't just beat Houston. They are. Wichita State fans would say it wasn't an upset. We're better than them. We are in first place in the American. So, anyway, shout out Isaac Brown.
And it's also a shout out just to Wichita State because that is one of the programs in Kansas in a basketball state that has been so good. And when you lose someone like Greg Marshall, and obviously it had a lot of not great circumstances around that, but you lose a basketball guy, you wonder like what this program's going to look like. It's good to see Wichita State holding their own and getting it going. Shout out for me. Shout out to James Bouknight, our guy from UConn.
Yes,
returns against Providence, throws down a big dunk, and I think it wasn't like we needed James Bouknight to turn on the Kimba candidate moment, right then, but it was like a little like wink, like you know it's coming.
Roll that again. I missed it.
All I heard was imminent. All I heard in my head was imminent.
Look at this slow mo.
And bang.
He's got the sleeves on too.
Yeah. I love that he wears number 2 like LaMelo Ball, and
I love that he's got the JP sleeves on.
he's gonna be a good one to watch.
Dude, give me Bouknight versus Io. Make it happen.
Yeah,
please.
That's good. That's
please
TV.
Put UConn in the tournament too. What are we doing? I mean, come on.
I will say this, like as far as like putting the tournament together this year, it does feel like they need someone for entertainment value. Like I wish that you and I could be guys that they consult for entertainment value.
Dude. I will do
Just
it for
give
free.
us a call. Yeah, we'll tell you what we need. Yeah.
Dude, and if the seeding matches up, because UConn.
All right, first game, Iowa versus number 14 seed Kentucky.
Here it is. UConn's going to get a 10 seed probably.
Yeah.
Illinois is going to get a 2. Boom, just put them right there. UConn gets a 10-7 game. Like give UConn like Colorado or something as their 7. Get them out of the way.
Yep.
And then we got the 10-2 game, second round, Illinois, UConn, boom, done. How hard is it, committee? Easy. Boom. Bouknight's back. I'm excited about that.
I love it.
I want to shout out the Vermont Catamounts beat UMBC at UMBC Tate. They now take a 1-game lead in the America East. They are playing tomorrow. Tomorrow being today, Friday. They're playing Friday again. So we'll see. But for this moment in time, as we're recording, Vermont has knocked off UMBC. Shout out Ryan Rosillo. Shout out Jake Marsh. He's a Vermont guy too. And those are really the only 2 Vermont guys I know. But Vermont is currently in first in the America East, and we appreciate mid-major basketball in this program. We get accused of being blue blood guys, so suck it, haters.
Shout out to Ryan Odom. Used to work with my dad. Shout out Dave Odom, who worked with us at the Asheville Maui Invitational. So a lot of connections there. But UMBC, you still beat Virginia that one time. We all remember.
I want to shout out, what else did I have? Oh, NIT might be played in Indianapolis. Did you see this? Matt Norlander is sort of reporting, but he's like burying it in this article he's writing. He's kicking the tires on. The NIT, apparently, he's suggesting the NIT, because the NIT is owned by the NCAA.
Yes.
It's run by the NCAA, I guess. I don't know what the terminology is.
It's a very ABA, NBA type situation. Yeah.
There's consideration of putting the NIT in Indianapolis. This is according to Matt Norlander's article. And,
as a wait and see, right?
As a wait and see.
Wow.
As a if some teams have to bow out, you put them in. So John Calipari's reading this, just licking his lips, just like yes.
Coach K will play in the NIT. Could you imagine that? Like we were in the first floor and they announced, like, God forbid, insert team can't play, and now Duke and Kentucky will now move into the first floor.
The first floor, yeah. You want to, dude? Entertainment value.
Yeah, like
done.
We'll watch that. You talk about Tuesday night basketball, like that's good.
Done. I want to shout that out. I guess that's it. Shout out shout out to guy. I wrote down shout out to guys getting shots up after games. This has been brought up throughout the season. A lot of people are pointing this out that like we're breaking a record for the social media play of like guys getting, you know, the social media people love to say that like after the tough loss.
Yeah, Caleb Love is getting up, 500 shots tonight.
He's still getting 500 shots. Yeah. So shout out to all you guys out there grinding, getting your shots up after the game. Voicemails. We're gonna play voicemails on Monday. We talked about it. We decided we want to do so. Keep them coming.
Keep calling.
Take the number down. 302-470-8283 is the number. We decided Monday's good because a lot of the games are played during like the weekends, obviously when college basketball shines. Yep. So we want you guys to call us over the weekend. Leave your voicemails as your teams lose. Michigan fans, again, the number is 302-470-8283. Take it down when Ohio State kicks your ass, and give us a call and tell us how depressed you are about it. And we'll play them on the show. So we have been listening. So some of them are hilarious.
They're great. They're great. Please keep calling.
See you guys on Monday or Tuesday or whatever the hell we're doing the show.